Well, I have started on the photo album. I'm trying to save it still, and I started painting the wood. I pulled all the material that was off of there. It was in really bad shape. And I started painting the wood olive green, folk art olive green. I tested a lot of different colors, and that was the only one I could find that was like close to this here, because this back side of this, I am going to leave it alone. I am not going to do anything to it, and I can't put this all the way up because that is still wet. But I have some plans for the front, and when I get to it, I'll show that. But, well, right now, I just want to get the wood part all painted and dried, and then I'll start on the front, the photo album itself. Okay, I started on the cover, and this here, this khaki, that's the color I was going to use by Apple Barrel, but it is the material is just soaking in. I've painted it here, and you can't really even hardly tell. So I am going to take this paint, put it back in the bottle, because I'm going to need it. And that I'm going to cover this with Mod Podge. That's all I know to do. I've got to put some kind of a sealer on it. Well, I wonder, maybe I could use some. No, my polyacrylic spurts out in lumps, so I can't use that. And I'm about out of the, I don't think what is that other stuff I use? Can't remember now. But I am going to finish putting this paint back in the container and go ahead and just put some Mod Podge over this to seal it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to paint it. It's just not doing a thing for it. Okay, I've covered the whole thing in Mod Podge, and I'm going to let it let it dry good. And then I'm going to go over where I Mod Podged with the khaki, and I'm going to try to cut in there. And I didn't do anything here because I've got some material that I'm going to put on the binding here. And we'll see how this is going to turn out. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm painting it, and I changed colors. I changed it to, oh, here it is. The Waverly Hazelnut. And I'm having to hold it in my lap and try and go carefully around that. I think it'll look a lot better when it's dry. It'll turn a little darker. Because there's the one I was going with, which isn't a whole lot of difference in the camera. But this one's a little darker and a little more, has a little more red cast to it. So I'm going to finish painting this, let it dry, and I'll probably have to give it another coat. Here's where I'm at so far. I have it painted, and I'm putting some clear wax on it, Fusion Clear. Trying not to hit the felt. And I've got the metal pieces, and I'm going to go clean them up, and I think I might put them back on. Now, this had a mirror in it, which is really no good. No good. And I put the embellishment up, which goes around here, and I thought that looked pretty, so I might do that. I am going to cover this whole thing, except for the felt, with the wax. I'm going to wipe it back and maybe take some Distress ink around the edges, and maybe right, around that. See how that looks. And let's see how the green, what color the green turns with the wax. Gets a little darker, which I like. Puts it more like that there. Alright, I'm going to continue doing this, and then I'll come back when I start on something else on it. Now I'm taking a vintage photo. I'm just going to go around the edges some. won't do any good to go there right now because that's where the binding part, the material that I'm going to put on there is going to be. Kind of go around it here. Kind of rough right in there. Okay, I think that's good enough. I didn't want a lot. And I used the tea dye because it was more the color of the material that I want to use. Okay, I don't think it needs any around here, but I'll see. Not really. If I do around here, I need to use the Jolie brown wax, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Okay, now, what's next? I think I'm going to put, I think that's all I'm going to do with that. And I need to start figuring out how. Is this the piece? Yeah. I'm going to attach this. Because if I use glue or Mod Podge, it'll turn it darker and stiff looking. Thinking maybe I'll cut it down to size and maybe get some spray glue. I think I have some Loctite. I wonder if that would work. Okay, that is down there. And I think I need to roll this over a little bit for right there. And measure that and cut that off. Okay, I'm going to get my pencil and run it right down through there. I'm going to cut this part off. And I'm going to bend this over and use a little fabric glue like I used on this right here. Because I did bend that back and tack that back. And I'll do the same thing here. And then I think I'll try the Loctite, the spray adhesive. Alright, I've taken that and marked where I want this cut off, I do believe. And I'm going to cut it right there. Cut that little piece that's hanging there off. And see how... Okay, that's like that. I need that about right there. Now I'll just take some of this Aleene's Fabric Fusion, because that's what I used on the side. I'll have to let it dry. Now there goes those chickens again. And I'll hold that for a little bit, and then I'm going to have to let it dry, and I'm going to go find my spray glue and get it ready. So we lost more of our roof again. Tilting it like a can. And we don't have any electricity. I got to go in for a blow away. Well, Lauren pulled the tin back. It was all rolled up to the top. And he pulled the tin back and got it down. And got to wait for the insurance adjuster to get out here. But he didn't do too bad of a job. At least if it rains or something, we'll be protected. Alright, I put the binding on here, the material, with this Loctite spray. I sprayed it on the material real good and picked it up and put it on immediately, and it's staying on. And I figured this would have a real bad smell, but it didn't. I just set it down in a box and sprayed the material. But I'm putting these little things back on there. And I've tried using the little nails that I took them off with, and it's just not working. It's just, they're just too loose. They've been in there, and I pulled them out, and the nails just fall right back out. So I think I'm going to have to glue them. And I think I'll use that, let me get it. This Beacon Quick Grip. I really like this stuff. And I'm going to put, I think these might go up here somewhere. But I've used some, I used a lot of different cleaners and couldn't get them clean. And I used something called Lemmy Shine, and it cleaned them, but it didn't clean this one the same color. So I don't know, maybe I might go get some of my Rub and Buff, the gold, and just see if there's a little difference in that. But I want to get them connected first, get everything on, and then I'll try that and see what that looks like. But I'm going to glue these on because I don't really like it like that. I think they look better with these on. Well, I went to take some packages to the mailbox, and I had a couple of orders, got those ready. Decided I better get some exercise, so I walked around and walked out to the corral. There's, let's see, that's Sally. And Sid is getting a drink of water right there. And the little old horse, big old horse, is getting old. It's getting skinny. Can't get any weight on him. And Lauren is back there repairing some fence. And most of the cattle have started heading that way where he's at. He's repairing fence because I can see they're out on the wheat field over there. So, okay. But I just had to get out and walk a little bit, and it's just beautiful out here. So, gonna go back in the house and get back to work. Well, here's how it turned out. Not bad, as it looked, and as bad a condition as it was in. There's the pieces that I added back on. And then, of course, the side with the material, the binding. Yet you can see it was still in pretty bad shape, but that paint has sealed it all in the Mod Podge. And then, I don't know if, here's the side where it has the catch, but I've undone it so I can take this down. And oh, the ring light's in there. And I left this the way it was. And there's where I cracked the mirror. And then, let's see. Let me get it open. I'll show you the inside. Actually, this latch, you just pull it up and it unlatches. And it's still in really rough shape, but I'm going to leave it just like that. Mary's sister. I think I've went through those before. But that's how it turned out, and I think it looks much better. And as the way it was going to have to go to the trash. But it looks much better now, and it looks pretty. It can be left setting out.